Hello, everybody. It's Sandra Pelli, the Sandini, Inner Peace Mentor, Visionary, the Guide Academy, Confidence Coach, and multiple other things. You probably have all kinds of names for me. I'm unsure. I'm here today, and this is brought to you by Sandra Pelli's A Spiritual How-To, the book I created that is a labor of love. Like, it was just a beautiful book that came from myself, from my own journey, and I share that journey willingly with you as a way to provide tools for your own journey. I'm super stoked today because I get to have a gentleman on that I've had on here. Well, I haven't had him on here, but I've gotten to know him over the last 3 years, and it's just been a really magical experience. So I'm going to read his bio for you guys, and I'm going to do a grounding exercise, and I'm going to bring him on before I do any of that, though, and just say a quick hi. Hello,
Hi,
Jeroen.
hi, Sandra. I'm
I
happy to
just
be here. I'm so honored that you invited me for this. So
Yeah,
really glad to be
well,
here.
thank you. I think well, I'm going to, you know what, let's ground first because I'm really feeling the energy personally, as well as possibly yourself and others would like to ground. And then like I said, I'll read your bio and tell people a little bit of my experience with you, and we'll go from there because I'm sure they're very interested in hearing a man's perspective and the creative side of a man. We don't often get to hear that. So you are a treasure to have with us. Thank you. So let's take a moment to take a nice cleansing breath. Feel the energy in your belly. Recognize that energy in your belly. It's okay that it's there. Acknowledge it. Maybe even saying hello to it. I know I want to say, be gone with you. Feeling into the energy of your feet on the ground. Feeling the stability of Mother Earth. That Mother Earth carries on. One moment at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 week at a time for a millennium. She's been here for a millennium. She'll be here for a millennium. I'm just feeling into the energy of the stability of that. Taking a breath into that, feeling into the energy of a specific guide coming through for you in this moment. Just giving yourself over to acknowledging that guide. Maybe that guide has its arms wrapped around you. Maybe it's cuddled up close to you, but just feeling into the energy of that guide, truly supporting you and recognizing you and honoring you in this moment. Asking the mind, body, and soul to do whatever it needs to do to heal in this space, knowing that this is a beautiful sacred container, that we are all coming together to witness, to share, to support, to receive. Asking to be open. With no expectations. No limitations. And being okay with the outcome. I'm being drawn to ask you to feel a color at the soles of your feet. Whatever color that is, just recognize that color, acknowledge that color, and feel it being drawn up through the soles of your feet, through your body, through your knees, up through your hips, through the trunk, your main body, your torso, your arms and hands, up through your neck, through your head, and how it's flowing beautifully and gently over your body, that beautiful color, whatever it is. Take a breath into that, relax into that. And another color appears at your feet. It could be the same one, it could be different. Acknowledging that color, welcoming that color. Maybe this one has an emotion to it, acknowledging that emotion. Feeling comfortable releasing that emotion, letting go of that emotion. Drawing that color up through your ankles and knees, through your pelvis, through your torso, your upper body. arms, hands, neck, head, feeling it flowing over, feeling your body relaxing into that. And then another vibrant color. Again, it could be the same or it could be different. Feeling the vibrancy of it. Connecting in with the magic of it. Some of its meanings for you. There's no wrong meaning. It's what it means for you. Especially in this moment, the here and now, in this space. Giving that color the room and space to come up through your legs. With each breath, you can feel it coming up into your torso, your body, how it's flowing into your arms and hands, coming up through your neck, through your head, feeling the connection with the divine and all the magic that's around as you sit very willingly in these colors. Feeling the rightness of that, the appropriateness of that, the magic. Being willing to open up your imagination in this space. Open up your heart. I am love. I am loved. I am loving. I am lovable. I love me. I love myself. I am divine love. Feel the power and the honesty of that. As we step into this beautiful circle, myself, Sandra, Jeroen, and all of you, as we come together once again to really receive whatever pieces of wisdom want to be imparted and accepting whatever resonates for you. And being willing to ask questions and knowing that we are connected, aware, and all-knowing as we step into the energy of the answers. And so it is. Beautiful. Right on. Thank you. Wow. So first of all, thank you so much for being here, Jeroen. I would like to read your bio first, if you would give me just a moment. And where's my document? There it is. So Jeroen is an architect who lives in the Netherlands. He has always been a very sensitive and creative person. In his search for a deeper connection with spirit, Jeroen found that he already had been receiving information his whole life. Later on, he discovered, to his surprise, that spirit was also communicating through his drawings and writings. Since then, he has been investigating and working on growing this gift by writing poetry through automatic writing, and especially by creating drawings. His search for a deeper connection with spirit started about 10 years ago. During a coaching session, Jeroen had an experience that changed his outlook on life. It is an ongoing discovery and evolution, and that is so true, so very true. For myself, I've known you probably about 3 years. We met through a membership that we're both a part of, and when I saw you, I just felt the energy of being connected in a very powerful way, and I know that we've developed a friendship over the past years, and it's such an honor to share space with you in this manner, and just to have you be here to reveal parts of yourself to this other community that There's definitely more people in that. Well, not more people than that other community, but it's more an unknown for you. So just kind of stepping into the energy of revealing parts of yourself. And I guess the easiest way to do that is maybe tell us a little bit about what was that coaching session. What was that experience? And you don't have to go into a lot of detail, maybe about more about what revealed to yourself, what happened there for yourself.
So, thank you, Sandra. And before I go into your question, I want to say that this I find it very important to share this, because I remember the first time we spoke. It was I had experienced. I was living by the ocean, and in a sort of curious nature accident, 5 experienced surfers, swimmers drowned, and there were extreme currents. There was huge foams on the water, so people couldn't get out, and I was sort of overtaken by the emotion I felt. I wasn't sure what was going on, and I shared this in the group. And Sandra stepped up and said, "Well, we could discuss this." And unexpectedly, I got this amazing coaching session by Sandra, and you helped me so much understand more what was going on, and by sharing what you've experienced, and it clarified so many things, and it sort of gave me a boost to go on a journey, which I it's like one of the big steps that I've experienced the past 3-4 years.
Thank you.
So you're such an amazing coach. So I just want to put that out there. And so now to your question. I was working at a firm for a long time, and I wasn't feeling like I'm stuck. I was feeling okay there, but I asked a family member who's a coach. I asked her, maybe there's something I could discuss with you at some point, and she said, no, it's not good as we're too close to each other. I'll introduce you to a coach, and so she did. And during one of the coaching sessions, she placed me in a guided meditation. And she didn't even name it that. She said, sit down, close your eyes, and imagine you're walking in the forest. And I was just blown away, because at the beginning I didn't see anything, but at some point I started seeing a path. I started seeing trees, and I was walking in the forest, and I wasn't making things up. It's just images came to me. And in the end, I walked into an open space in the forest, and that's where I saw a deer. And it's just all the things I saw and experienced around that. It's just like this something I wasn't expecting from life. I have to do something with this. So I started investigating in spirituality starting then. So that's basically what opened it up.
I love that, and I'm going to refer back to what you said before too. It's the experiences that it's experiences that we. I was going to say experiences that we experience. It's the things that we experience that really we can either just toss them to the side, or we can step into the energy of what's the further exploration in this. And I think that's what I offered when I reached out to you during that very dramatic period of yours, was that further exploration into maybe what some of the other meanings were behind the things that were happening. Not to say that deaths have ulterior motives. There's definitely a lot going on with that. And same too with the session that you had, the deer coming to you. I think that's another reason why you and I connected. Deer has a very prominent role in my life as well. So when did you first start to recognize the artwork that was happening? I'm going to give it maybe a different type of word, like the doodling. Yeah.
It was doodling, and it's still it can be, you know, it's so in I was in a membership, and we had these semi-private reading sessions. We'd be on with like 8 people, and one would read us all. And I found this very fascinating, and I want to join them every time, and just got so much out of them. But at some point, you know, it's not that I was bored, but I was just feeling like I need to write things down, and then the writing down didn't. So I started doodling. That's basically what happened. And there was this one time when I was doing that, and the reading was similar to what I was drawing.
Okay.
And I was like, there's something going on here. So I started to investigate that. Basically, that's what happened. And it just, I still don't fully know what goes on when I do this, but I just do it. I just keep doing it, and it brings interesting experiences for me, and interesting drawings. And the fascinating thing is that I've always liked drawing, but I've never really felt the full joy in drawing. Like I want to create an image, and it has to be like this. There was not much. I sort of got stuck in that. It's just always in a kind of drawing that just the flow of doing it, and see whatever comes out. More like that. So it sort of made sense that these things interconnected in that sense.
I love that. When I approached you, or when you approached me, however the energy worked out for us to be here today, we've had a few conversations. We've gone together and had a few, and you mentioned a number of different types of drawings. Now, I'm unfamiliar with how to share screen from here. Maybe the next call we'll actually do it on a Zoom call so that you guys can get the benefit of my screen shared. But there was 4 types of drawings that came up. And I'm just going to read the names of them first, and then you can maybe hone in on the one that you want to speak about, that you felt was the most, maybe the first one that you did was, there's the reading sketches, there's connection drawings, there's the soul expression, and there's the translation drawings. So if somebody was coming into the energy of sitting down with you, what would likely come up? What were you doing? What one of those reading sketches, connection drawings, soul expression, or translation drawings were you doing when you were in that group setting?
So those were the sketches, and in the
Okay.
beginning they really looked more like doodles. So just make one today. Actually, I'll show it real quick. So it's a
Love
tiny
it.
one, and it's just fun to do. And I'm surprised that every time that some piece of information comes through it. And so that's the sketching I do, and I can do that in starting with 2 minutes, and I could work up to about 10. It sort of differs, but it goes really fast.
I love the energy of that. And I think probably a lot of people, as well as myself, can really relate to that, because literally on the top of a lot of the chapters of my book, I have little drawings
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they're taken from my morning pages of things that I drew. I think I drew wizards, I drew castles, all sorts of bits and pieces. This was a sketch of the injury where I dislocated my pelvis on both sides. So all these little bits of all these drawings have really interesting pieces of energy. What is the soul expression? What is that one? Do you want me to read what you wrote first?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, sure. So when Jeroen sent me a bunch of a number of his artwork to show what the different aspects that he has come out of himself is. One of them happened to be the soul expression. And soul expression, these drawings and paintings just sort of appear as he goes along. They're expression of what he feels in the moment. They usually are connected to something going on in my life. However, different people tend to see different things. Usually he works in layers and might pause in between for a bit of a time. and they usually take a bit of time. And I use the word bit of time because I'm guessing that in those cases, you might start something today and then later on come back to it, or maybe tomorrow or the next day, or maybe a week from now. Am I correct in that?
Usually I don't, but occasionally I do.
Okay.
So there was this one time I had made this whole huge paper with all these tiny little sort of paintings, and then I wanted to sort of start clearing out stuff. So I cut out the bits that I liked, and I kept those apart. But then I saw one that's like, it doesn't it doesn't ring true for me, this drawing. I don't like it very much, but I started drawing on top of that. So that created a whole new layer, and that's really, I think that's also one of one I shared with you. But we'll share that next time.
Exactly. When
but
we have the
but usually these are just drawings. I'm just drawing, and I'm not looking for anything to really sort of lock into. It's just see what it feels like.
okay. Maurice is here watching us. Barb is here watching us. Barb actually has one of your drawings as well. Dashka's here watching us. So a lot of your old community is all here supporting you, holding space for you as you speak, and I love the energy of that. Um, what what is there a sense or a feeling that comes over you? Maybe explain kind of the process of what happens. I know that you had spoken about that you were sitting there and you may have felt that you were bored in the moment. It might have been more a feeling of you didn't really know what to do with yourself in the moment.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, I need to write this down. I know I'm very familiar with wanting to write things down as I'm going through meditations and journeys, and in fact doing the drawings as well. But you go way further. Like I just do that initial drawing, and it's very basic. So what's pulling you? How do we connect into that? What's happening in that moment?
So when I first so when I realized that this was happening, I started to practice it more and more, and it became I don't know. I was looking for like, how do you start a drawing like this? So I was looking for a hook, and in the beginning that was quite hard for me. So I just made a swirl or whatever, and it didn't sort of work. But by now I've been doing it for a while. I just sit down and I just start, and it's interesting because I just lately I discussed with some people that I should start. I'm starting to. I'm planning to do a recording of how I draw, because they evolve into something totally different in the end. But in the beginning, I sort of do a quick draw something quick, and if I feel the urge to look into it, like, do I want to see something into it, or do I see something into it, I just sort of work with that. It's like I'll give you a quick example. It's like here, it's for me this is like an elephant's head. Yeah, right here under my finger. But and here, oops, going the wrong way. This to me.
Don't you love
I have
the
to get
figuring
used
out?
to this camera work. But this is like a dinosaur sort of thing, and it sort of popped out, and then I um, sort of expand on it, but not fully. It's just I sort of make it stand out more what I see, and then I know I just have to move on, because it's not about creating a dinosaur. It's not creating about an elephant or so.
So what I hear you saying, and Gloriana hit it as well here too. She said intuition. So you're letting your intuition really,
Yes, definitely.
and being in the flow of it. Then too, not like you said, not getting hung up on, oh, I've started a dinosaur. I need to draw that dinosaur and finish that dinosaur.
Yeah,
No, only if I'm drawn to draw that full
yeah,
dinosaur will I do it. I just flow with the energy and go with it. Correct? Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
you verbalized perfectly, and it's like um, sometimes I don't even feel like wanting to make um, a visual sort of symbol, or it really depends on the
Yeah.
energy.
You said something about starting one piece and you had cut out all the pieces. And then when you looked at it, it no longer resonated with you and you colored over it or you drew over it. I had, at one point, I was doing paint nights in my own home where I had people come in and I would do a meditation and they would paint from their hearts, from their energy, from their intuition. They would paint. And halfway through it, we would stop, take a breath, and I would do another meditation so they could go back into the energy, because we all know the human mind gets caught up on the, oh, this needs to be perfect. I got to do this in a certain way. One person in this experience, man, her artwork was absolutely incredible at that halfway mark. And then when we did the pause and we meditated, she went and she painted entirely over it. You couldn't see any of that other piece at all. And the energy of it was underneath that. What's going on for you? Like I'd like to say, oh, you're changing the energy of this, or what's happening with you when you feel into this no longer resonates with me, and you start to draw over it. What's pulling you in there?
It's not actually that it's not resonating with me anymore, but it's more like, okay, I need to go here now. I just need to sort of pull this forward, or make this clear, or and what I have learned, I have had, obviously I've had some painting and drawing classes, but what I have learned is that it does help to not focus on one bit in your painting and then forget all the rest. You need to be working all over the page the whole time, because if you don't, you get like it goes out of balance in a way. So
I
you
can really,
need to move over the paper constantly.
I really feel the energy of that. Even as you were speaking, I felt the energy of this lotus bloom coming out, but you couldn't just focus on like this one outline. You had to really kind of see where all the pieces of that were, and even the outside. Yeah, it feels very, very powerful.
Cool.
Let,
And
let, if you don't have anything, I want to ask about the
go ahead.
translation drawings. Okay. So the
Yeah.
translation drawings, through these drawings, you look to express what you've seen in a meditation. And sometimes this is related to readings that you've done for someone, or somebody's having a reading and that's when you're drawing this. With these, I try to understand better what you've seen and capture the beauty of it, which is a challenge in itself. Maybe explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So it doesn't happen very often, but sometimes when I meditate, I get visuals, and it's like I want to sort of try and capture those. I remember this been quite a while ago. It's about 3 years ago or something. I was commuting to my work. I was sitting in a train, and I was meditating, and at some point I saw this incredible shape coming out, and it was like a bottle with the head of a penguin, but it was dark red. It was blood red, and it was dripping. So I have to look it up. I've made that drawing somewhere, and um, it really made sense to me to sort of, I sort of had to pin that down for a reason. It's like maybe I could explain it at the moment what it meant to me then, but it's like it's going to have a different meaning for someone else at another point. It's more like that. Or for this example, I drew quickly what I saw in a meditation, and it's more to exemplify to explain what I saw to her.
I can understand that. So I'm hearing two different styles. One is really where you just put the pen to the paper or pencil to
Yeah.
paper, or whatever medium you're using, and you let whatever flow out of you. And then the other is that vision. And I love this because I could feel the energy of myself in what you're saying, and I'm sure others here can really resonate with what you're saying as well. And not getting hung up, I guess, on I I'm not going to say that you're a better artist than myself, but I know that I probably stand in judgment of myself and my artwork. And when I look at what I have pop into my head and then what I put onto paper, of course, they're not exactly the same, but I still feel the energy of what I've created. So,
Yeah,
for instance,
exactly.
I've had this vision come through in a meditation where it was me looking down on a field of buffalo, and I could see how they were all laying down. And I absolutely love what came out from that. And actually, what I did was I used my thumb in the brown paint and did thumbprints all across this green background that these were the buffalo laying down, and then did a pinky where that was their head, and just feeling into the energy of what wanted
Yeah.
to come out, what wanted to come through. It feels very, very powerful. What words of advice do you have for people?
Um, I love what you said. It's more about capturing the energy and trying to tell a story with a drawing than trying to make it beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. We obviously, one can draw better than the other. One can speak better, or we all have qualities, and you need to step into your own quality and sort of explore in that sense. But we all can do this in a way. We can all doodle, and I have the idea that we can all sort of get information. We can find information in that, but obviously I'm not sure because I'm just doing what I'm doing, and I don't know. It's just it feels right, and that's basically the most important thing. Is I get into sort of meditative state when I'm doing it. I'm just enjoying being there. It's like very calming, very
Mm.
being on a different level of experiencing life, and then that's perhaps more important than the result that you're aiming
Mm.
for. Because when you're looking at the result, it's always judgment. But when you're doing it at the moment you're doing it and you're enjoying doing it, it's who's judging? It's just
I
having
think
fun.
I think what you said is so important. Is it's not the end result, because the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It always is, right? I have a question for you. In fact, I have two questions for you. The first one is, I remember as a child, my doodling was the same. I always drew the same picture. It was through a very young age, and it was always of a fence and the back end of a dog. Because I couldn't draw the front end of a dog, but I could draw the back leg and the tail and the butt of the dog. So the dog was always walking behind a fence. I don't know what that means, but that's something that I drew for a long time. I bet you for probably 10 years. It's so memorable. Was there a childhood drawing that you drew when you were a kid that stands out like that does for me?
No, but I find this really fascinating. To me, it's sort of I get a feeling it's like an image you were still holding from like a past life or something or an
Mm.
experience. But it's more a way of drawing. And I remember as a kid, I was doodling. I was just drawing, and when I was looking at it, yeah, I like this. So I'll just keep going. Um, and at some point, when I got into my early teens, I was really getting fascinated by um, graffiti. So I started doing graffiti, but I did it sort of in the same way, because when it's graffiti, you can just draw your wonky letters, and you don't need to have a very strict plan. It's like you need a bit of spacing, but so it's more like that. It's more the way of drawing that has always suited me, but I never understood why.
Okay.
That's that's the feeling I get.
I heard you say something, and I'm wondering if I need to expand on that. You said it's the same thing. Now, I'm guessing it's the same thing, meaning it's the connecting in with your intuition and just letting it flow.
Yeah. So it's the way I was doodling earlier and the way I'm doodling now and the way I was doing graffiti. It's all in a sort of same way. Yeah.
I love it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but it feels it came natural to me and it still does. So that makes sense. And
Yeah,
that's what I think is so critical to all everyone's doing is to do what comes natural to you. Don't try and force anything on it. So that's
exactly.
very general, but it really helped me understand more what I'm doing and in relation to what other people are good at.
I love that. Again, it's not about self-judgment. My other question for you is, I know because of where you and I are coming from, and a lot of the other people who are currently watching us live right now come from, we were taught that there were more guides out there than we can ever imagine, and to ask for help with them. And I know for myself, I was at a paint night with my son, and it was probably one of the very first paint nights that I'd ever been to. And paint night, for those of you who are unaware of what a paint night is, it's when you get together with a group and you are sitting down and you are being guided to paint one painting, the entire group. There could be 150 people there, but they're all literally painting the same exact painting, but of course with their own flair. So everybody sees something differently, slightly different, whether it's the colors, whether it's the shape, and they just see things slightly different. At this paint night that I went to with my son and his entourage, we were being directed to color a this little blue owl with this pale white and blue background, and they all did. They all did. Uh, During this, though, I was at a really interesting exploration point in my life, and I chose, instead of following everybody else, I chose instead to connect with a guide, and I chose to connect with my creative guide. It was a dark little dingy bar that we were in, and everybody's painting their whitish blue background and their owls on it. And when we were all done, this is what came out of me. Absolutely nothing to do with an owl. And I have the original on the wall, and to me there's so much power in this, with the eye, the infinity, the swirling energy, the icicles, the tree, just even the ground. Like I can
And the
really feel
clouds.
how I gave myself over. Yeah, and the clouds as well. I can feel how I literally just gave myself over to what wanted to come through. Like that ground, to me, I feel
Yeah.
the energy of like sharks and birds and all sorts of things in there.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you make a point of connecting with the guide, or have you made a point of ever getting really specific with the guide in this?
I don't think so.
That's all right.
So not specific. It's just I know they're there, and sometimes I'm aware of it, but usually I'm not. I'm just
Okay.
doing. I'm just going.
Love it. There's no wrong or right, right? We're just flowing in the energy of this.
Yeah. And this also been asked. Do I prepare before I go in? No. It's just the doing itself is preparation for itself. So it's like a meditation in itself, doing it, and it's expanding outwardly in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Feels very powerful. Um, I'm just seeing if there's anything else that wants to be. Does anybody have any questions in the feed? Like, we've got a number of people here watching us. Someone said they saw an owl, an eye of an owl in my picture.
Hmm.
Yeah, it fascinates me. Like, I could sit and meditate with that picture. Do you go into your artwork after the fact? Like, do you sit down with it and see? I know you've posted it in places and asked what other people see, but what do you do with your artwork?
Uh, it differs, but um, some drawings just capture your heart. It's like your painting of your owl, which is not an owl. So I'll share with you guys, like this drawing I did last week. Hold on. And it might not be very clear to looking for a spot again. So this
Oh
is
yeah.
all doodling, but in the middle, right here,
Yeah.
a guru stepped in. I hadn't drawn him. I in the end, I sort of pointed him out a bit. But it just, and I can still watch it, and it's so mesmerizing to see such a strong image, and and this drawing. I mean, I when I tilt it a different way, I see something else, but. So it's in that way I'm sort of exploring, yeah. In a drawing like this, I would be exploring what's there to see, what's more is there to see.
I love it. I love it. My girlfriend Myrna here, she wrote, desiring to be perfect as I put cell samples of my free motion quilting together. So that's sewing quilts. Thank you. I need to sit back and let my hands do what they want to do, essentially. Yeah.
Sounds perfect.
Exactly. And I'm just going to see who wrote this other one. Oh, Barb wrote this about so tough to let go of my ego when trying to draw, always wanting it to be something. Yeah, we reflected on that about, not getting caught up on that. How does it look? I want it to be perfect. And what's that final result? But coming back to just being in the process of it, right?
Yeah. And there's obviously there's tricks to improving your drawing in a way to sort of getting it more spacious, or there's tricks to that, and I could go into that at some point, but there's ways to improve your drawing still, but that's not per se what you need to be looking for. That's what I'm saying.
I love the energy of that. I wanted to show this other comment about your drawing first, and then I want to say something about what you just said. Barb again said that reminds of the faces that are hidden in Salvador Dali's paintings. Beautiful.
I'm totally Dali. I just watched a documentary last night on Netflix. It's amazing the way he could paint and the way he was thinking, and his he could paint so realistic, and yet he was sort of pulling things apart and creating new realities. It's really mesmerizing.
What's it called? Do you remember the name?
The title? No, if you go on Netflix and you type in Salvador Dali, I know you'll find
Okay,
it.
perfect. Right on. The thing that I wanted to reflect back on, what was that now? Bear with me here a second. It eludes me. Yeah, it eludes me.
That's good.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, right? I know one of the reasons that I brought you on to share you with the community. Well, there's actually a couple reasons. First of all, I just admire you, and I really, really, I want to say that I love you and I love your energy and that. So, anybody who knows you, I believe, has probably very similar feelings to mine. They admire you and they want you to succeed and be everything that you can be. And I know that we kind of had multi-purposes to coming together, and one is because you really wanted to support me, but in doing so too do I you, right? And we've had this going back and forth about, yeah, but I want to support you, yeah, but I want to support you. It's pretty comical to listen to as if people have been listening. But one of the reasons you did connect with me is because I'm having an event, and it's that Reveal the Incredible You, and you are an integral part of that on Tuesday morning of next week, where you will. Today we're talking about this on the Zoom call that him and I will be sharing on the same media on Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. we'll actually have his artwork, and I'll be able to share that on screen with you guys, and he can go into a little bit more in depth, some of the things that were happening, some of the processes. And then when we come together in the Reveal the Incredible You event, he will actually be walking you through how to do some of these things, how to doodle or how to do whatever artwork. And for those of you who are participating in that, the playbook will be coming out in a timely manner, and you will be asked to have certain pieces of equipment or tools handy, simple things like pencils and paper, maybe scissors. We're not really sure. He's wide open to whatever wants to come through. You wanted to say something?
No, I love that.
Okay.
It's when we were speaking, it sort of popped into my head. It's like we could go all ways with this, because I can imagine some people don't like to paint or draw as much, but like to cut or tear papers or make 3D objects, and just bring whatever you like and work the way it suits you.
Yeah.
Just a fun process.
Exactly. And then, so that's Jeroen's way of coming on and supporting me, supporting us. But also, too, one of the purposes for me doing this with him is that I'm aware of how gifted and how talented he is. I'm aware of the struggles that he has had that are so similar to my own and possibly to some of yours around the spiritual journey that we're each on, and really coming to grips with that, being on it and whatever that looks like. But also, too, the awareness of not necessarily where I am, because I've gotten to the point where maybe 4 years ago, if you type my name in, it didn't come up with anything. You could barely find me. Well, now if you type my name in, it's everywhere. And Jeroen, when I go and look for him, there's not as much known out there. And I don't know if he wants to go that route at some point in his life, but I really feel the energy of the talent that you have, the gift that you have, and being able to share that with, especially the male that are out there. Like Maurice is on here. We both know Maurice from the other place too. And there's not enough male energy. There's not enough women standing in line supporting the male energy even. Like I really want to see more men out here doing the things that you're doing, and being comfortable in places talking about it. And that's one of the reasons why I came on to have you on here as well. And I know I went and looked at your Instagram account, and he's got just a very small gathering of some of his artwork on there. So look him up on Instagram. That's a good place. And of course, his own, I don't know if you want to publicize your Facebook, but for sure looking up Instagram. What do you want to say about where you're headed with your spiritual growth and what it's been like for you?
So the past 2 years have been really rough for me. And even though in spite of that, I'm still just going forward with this. I'm having more and more fun with it. And I've decided also to start building a website and start doing things on Instagram, just starting to post. But it's also sort of getting used to doing that, sort of exposing yourself. It's I don't know, it's something weird to do. So
can I say something to that? Part of the weirdness and the awkwardness of doing stuff like that is because we're now putting ourselves out to be seen by others, and we're not comfortable with what we're seeing in ourselves. And that's one of the reasons why I do that Reveal the Incredible You, is because I would love for you to be revealing all that incredibleness out, but you have to reveal it to yourself first. And that's what this last 2 years has been for you, is that unfolding and discovering who you are underneath of this, right? Yeah.
what can I add? Yeah, it's as hard as it's been on one hand, it's also been magical, and just feeling support of so many people and energies and everything. It's just when you start to trust and let go of things, just magic does happen. It's really strange.
I love it.
And yeah, go ahead.
No, you're saying exactly what I always say. I love it. Yeah, when you get hooked. When you get hooked in, man, it's
Yeah. And it's like I've heard this phrase. I mean, I think on one hand I always thought it was a corny phrase, but I just heard it last week. I heard it a couple of times from different people. So I don't know, but it's just really let go and let God. It's really, yeah.
well, there's
Keep going and keep moving forward. But yeah,
yeah. Well, there's definitely people in our community, and I could rattle off names who are very familiar with what you're saying there, let go and let God, like really giving yourself over. And if you are uncomfortable with the word God, then you put another word in there, let the divine, let the,
definitely.
whatever consciousness, the source, whatever it
But for
is.
me, it's all the same.
It is.
We put a name on it, and it's through the Christianity and the Bible. It's created a stamp. It's like this, but there are no words to describe what it is.
That's right.
So it doesn't matter how you describe it, actually.
Yeah, I love it. I think for those of you who are listening, for those of you who catch the replay, you can see that Jeroen, the male energy, it's really no different from the female energy in that we're all on this path and we're giving over to intuition. We're letting go, as you said, letting go, let God. And yeah, it's been magical. It's been magical watching you. It's been magical watching you expand and get more comfortable in who you are and coming on like this. I really highly, highly appreciate this. Thank you, Jeroen. Yeah.
I'm just truly grateful.
Yeah. Well, nobody wrote any questions. We will come and see you guys again in a couple days. Watch for it. If you're catching the replay and you hear me say that, then check it out on the YouTube channel because there'll be another one with him on as well. And have a magical rest of the day. We really appreciate everybody that was here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jeroen.
Thank you. Bye-bye.